behalf of Mr. Jean-Christophe, Mayor of the City of Neuilly-sur-Seine, I'm honored to welcome the American delegation led by Mr. Brian Shell, the Canada Vice President of the American Legion. We remember with gratitude those who fought in the cause for freedom, and especially those who paid supreme sacrifice. It's with pride that we pay a tribute of respect to the citizens of the Great Republic of the United States of America. Today, we pay homage not only to those who gave their lives, but to their comrades present today and all across the country. Those who fought in Europe are part of our history. No number of ways, no amount of music or memorializing will ever do them justice. But it is good for us that we honor them in their sacrifice. Now I will turn over to Mr. Bernard Laden, President of the French Artillery Reserve Officers Association, who will say a prayer. Please uncover.
Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle, my loving kindness and my fortress, my high power and my deliverer, my shield and the one in whom I take refuge. Psalm 144, 1 and 2a. Almighty God, by whose mercy the faithful departed find rest, look kindly on you departed veterans who gave their lives in the service of their country. Whether weary or abandoned, quiet or defiant, vulnerable or ready when you call them home, their sacrifice is too humbling for words. Accept these uttered in prayer. Loving Lord, bless them forever in your eternal peace. Cherish their spirit, honor their commitment, send them our love, and we'll never forget the service that they gave.
Now, Mr. Philippe Suchet, President of the Cemetery of Neuilly-sur-Seine, will deliver a speech.
Good to see all of you. This very day, American and French comrades, we are together to honor the memory of the soldiers of America and France who made the sacrifice of their lives in the course of the two major conflicts of the 20th century to democratically live in peace and freedom. This year, we will keep especially in mind the conflict which ended in 1945, for which we celebrate the 75th anniversary. We are also together to welcome Brian Shell, the recently nominated commander of the American Legion Mausoleum in Paris. We wish him every success in his mission. It is an altogether appropriate occasion to tell him that he can rely on the amitié of the Souvenir Français to keep enhancing the memory of the heroes of both countries. Never forget No one is intent on forgetting the heavy participation of France to back the wars of independence, engineered for a strongly determined America aimed at fighting on indefinitely to get a liberated country strong of its future. Never forget. No one is intent on forgetting the US soldiers, which were gallantly instrumental in playing a momentous part in the First World War at a time when France was in the throes of an irreducible adverse opponent. Never forget. And no one forgets the dashing US soldiers in the Second World War rushing forward on the landing shores of Normandy to meet and ram into the front line of a strongly entrenched enemy in order to subsequently deliver freedom back to their friends. These brave men must never be forgotten. Their help was the key to the end of the war. I am personally, following several visits paid to the Colville graveyard, which lies near to Utavik, how moved and touched I was on seeing women and men around town sounding deeply depressed as they were bearing in mind their family members still in war, praying for their eternal salvation. From the moment when setting foot on the Colville graveyard soil and looking to the skies, one feels the surging rise of a spirituality belonging to each individual, which is the very essence of our existence. In effect, deeply ingrained in ourselves, life and death are bound together, and this fail-proof tie-up reveals that we are attached to our memories, not only our own memories, but also the memories that we share in common, the memories of the fallen who offer their life for our own. At this juncture, when peace prevailed on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, let us shelter from another enemy, quite with a deceitful air of innocence. I mean oblivion. When oblivion attempts to easily pervade our mind, let us turn to our spirituality, which is our outright guardian against oblivion. Today, we are in front of this memorial. It is an actual instance of how we can protect ourselves from oblivion and feel ready and willing to hand on to the youngest generation the legacy of the glorious memory of our past. The 75th year anniversary is a poignant opportunity to give thanks to all those who contributed to this resounding moment in history. Never forget. Thank you all.
And now a word from Mark Primer, Commander, DFW Post 605, please.
Thank you. It is my honor to represent the Benjamin Franklin DFW Post on this most solemn occasion. In quiet services around the world today, we come together as a nation to remember those lost in the clash of battle. The thunder of bombs, the roar of tanks, the rumbling of airplanes flying overhead, and the scream of artillery shells. This Memorial Day, we come together, even if only in mind and in spirit, to honor the many sacrifices made for our freedom. As we enjoy living in the land of the free and the home of the brave, we must continue to remind our fellow citizens that there is no freedom without bravery, and those we honor today were brave when it counted the most. Amid the war-torn decades we've endured, we take great pride in these heroes, these men and women who believed they were just doing their duty. They had strength when the situation demanded it, determination when everything felt lost, and devotion, courage, and patriotism when others looked to them for guidance. No one ordered them to practice the most basic of human ideals. They did it because they were Americans, and they were allies, and they lived in a nation worth defending. Generation after generation has been fortunate enough to reap the benefits paid by those who believed that freedom was worth dying for, and if necessary, dying. In cemeteries across America and around the world today, people will pause to spread flowers on the graves of those lost in war. But today should not be about the sorrow we feel at their loss, and not about the mourning. What it should be about is best expressed by General George S. Patton back in 1944 at a military cemetery here in France. Looking out across the field, filled with rows of crosses marking the graves of men who just days before had been part of his army, Patton said, "We should thank God that such men live." And that is what this very special day is about, being thankful that such brave men and women have lived, to pay tribute to those heroic patriots who bravely rose up and fought for something greater than themselves, protecting a home to which they never returned. They sacrificed everything for the noblest of causes. It is up to you and to me to carry their memory forward in an effort to repay a debt that can never truly be repaid. Flowers, memorials, flags at half-staff, and the sad notes of taps, as meaningful as they are not enough. What we really must do to honor their sacrifice is to live what they died for. Live the America they died for. Live the France that they died for. A country of freedom, equality, opportunity, and unlimited promise. Live filled with hope. Hope that what they gave us will last forever, and that freedom and opportunity will find all who seek it. Finally, live to preserve their legacy, educating all who believe Memorial Day is just another holiday, and passing along our knowledge to the next generation so that they may do the same. We must ensure that the youth of tomorrow understand the true cost of freedom. Today, we do more than just carry on a tradition dating back to 1866, when the first formal Memorial Day observances were conducted. We go beyond tradition, beyond remembering, and beyond mourning. Today, we work together to make this the country they died for, building a better nation each and every day. They gave up their todays for our tomorrows, and now we must carry their message of dedication and determination to the generation in uniform today, and to the generations who will serve tomorrow, because there is no greater way to honor the memory of those who have secured us. Thank you. And now I invite Colonel Peter Hurley, join on podium. He's representing the American Overseas Memorial Day Association. He's also a fellow comrade with me in the VFW and American Legion, so I'm honored to hand the microphone with you. Thanks, Commander. A century ago, just about, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines laid down their arms at the end of what they called then the Great War. they didn't finish the struggle, because a century ago, another pandemic was raging in America, on ships, in Europe, and around the world. The great influenza. Many of our American military who are buried in our cemeteries in France perished, no less heroes, no less devoted to America than their comrades who perished on the battlefield. Because of the urgency of the war, they were crowded together, they had to accomplish their mission, and they faced not only the shells and the shot, but the invisible menace of what we now know as a virus. At the end of all that struggle, even in the midst of the epidemic, Americans, together with French friends, founded the American Overseas Memorial Day Association. They did this in partnership with the American Legion, and soon the veterans of foreign wars would join. And that memory would be nurtured in partnership with the French communities where our military had served. All those partnerships continue to this day. The magnificent mausoleum where we are, with the names that you see behind me on the walls, is another testimony to the enduring friendship that did start when France helped save the brand new country of America, that was reinforced in World War I and then in World War II, and in all our actions since then. So Memorial Day here in France is a symbol of partnership. It's a symbol of teamwork. It's a symbol of a great cause supported together. And as long as we stay friends and stay united, then, like back a century ago, nothing can beat us. It's a great honor for representing American Overseas Memorial Day Association. With the tradition that we've guarded jealously for a century, one of the specific and crucial points of that friendship and tradition is our relations with our French comrades. And I'm delighted that it continues today. Merci, la ville de Neuilly. Merci, le souvenir français. Merci à tous et toutes les amis français et françaises. Our hearts are with you. Thank you very much. And since I have two commanders, thank you, Commander Primer, for your introduction. And now I have the privilege to introduce the new commander of the American Legion Post 1, Brian Schell. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here today. I would first like to start by thanking our French comrades, the history that we share with the Ville de Neuilly, the Souvenir Français, and all of the French who have been supportive of Paris Post 1, our mausoleum, our American community. We thank you to the bottom of our heart. Being able to have this magnificent monument here for the American Legion, for American veterans and family, to know that it's being held here safe through our friends in France, brings a great comfort to the veterans and the American community here in Paris, knowing that we have this shared legacy that's been going on for now over 100 years. Since World War I, when the founder of Paris Post 1
first started our post in Paris, it was he who also worked with the American Overseas Memorial Day Association to create the remembrance of Memorial Day in France every year. This amazing day of remembrance that's been going on since the Civil War in the United States is very special to us here. It's not only a day of significance of remembering our veterans, but it's also a shared day that we have with our French comrades to remember not only the Americans that have died here in France, but also the French. Specifically today, I would like to thank the three French gentlemen who have already spoke. Monsieur Renaud de Beauchamp, Monsieur Bernard Wedman, and Monsieur Philippe Sechet, representing the Mayor of Neuilly and also Le Souvenir Français for Neuilly-sur-Seine. Thank you very much for your attendance, your participation, and for being supporters and friends of the American Legion since the beginning. I can't give a speech on Memorial Day without recognizing our great General J. Pershing. General John J. Pershing. He was a significant individual who brought the American Expeditionary Forces to France during World War I. They were instrumental in helping World War I end. And it was after that that our group got started and continued the legacy of General Pershing. At one day, there was many American associations, including the VFW, Paris Post 1, the Department of France of the American Legion, the American Association for Memorial Day overseas. We all work together in the community, not just this holiday, but American Memorial Days throughout the year. As we continue to recognize our great soldiers from World War I would like to recognize the first four recipients of the Distinguished Service Medal. There were 4 French officers. They gave their hearts and souls to their men, just like General Pershing did. They were leaders in their community. They instilled values into our military organizations, and they were the precursor to what we have today with the American Legion and the VFW. I would like to remember Marshal Ferdinand Foch, Marshal Joseph Joffre, General Philippe Pétain, and General Louis Franchet d'Espéret. These were the first 4 recipients of the Distinguished Service Medal in the United States. I would like to pay my respects to all of the commanders and officers of Paris Post 1. I am in shoes and honor, not only for his legacy, but for the spirit that he had for Americans living in France.
I don't have a small number.
My biggest memorial that I would like to talk about today is the memorial and the remembrance of the bonds that we have between the American community, the American veterans, the military, the French, the legacy of working together from the American Revolution through the Great World Wars up until now, where we're hoping to see the end of wars and more peace. Today I take my hat off to all of those that were before me, and I thank them for giving us the opportunity to be here today. At this time, I'd like to close the ceremonies, and we will continue on with the national anthems and taps.
Oui, il faut qu'il y ait.
I would like now to call the wreaths. First wreath that will be laid is from Souvenir Français. The American Overseas Memorial Day Association. The American Legion, Paris Post 1, jointly with Veterans of Foreign Wars, Paris Post 605, Benjamin Franklin Post. At this point, if we could please organize ourselves to salute the colors as we play the national anthems.